This is a 2021 Benelli TNT135. A little bike with a very big heart, and very cool. This is the Benelli TNT 135. What is it? There are many words to describe these sort of bikes, but I think the best I like is mini naked street fighter. I mean, just have a look at it, and when you look at these sort of bikes, which includes the Benelli TNT135, the Honda Grom 125, and the Kawasaki Z125 Pro, common words for all of these bikes are nimble, minimal, zippy, a pocket rocket, and a whole lot of fun. Kawasaki says small in size, big on fun. Honda Grom says probably the most fun you'll have on two wheels. And for Benelli, a fun bike with a serious attitude. The Benelli 135, TNT 135, is the bike we're having a look at here today. Released in 2017 as the TNT 125, the little Benelli was updated in 2020 with a 135 engine. Now, adding 10% may not sound a lot if you're putting 10% on a 1100cc motorcycle, but when you add 10 cc's to a 125, it gives it a power increase of around about 8%, and that's significant. The Benelli, unlike the Grom and the Z125, runs a 4-valve head, and that helps it to get the fuel in a whole lot easier, to get the motor to breathe, which does help the performance. It puts out 9.5 kilowatts at 9,000 RPM and 10.8 newton meters of torque at 7,000 RPM. And 7,000 RPM is where you do a lot of your riding, quite frankly, on this little bike. And it only weighs 128 kilograms wet. Benelli is a famous Italian brand, being made since 1911. In 2005, they were acquired by the Changjiang Motor Group, who, I think they've done a pretty good job in the quality and the performance, considering that the price level we're looking at here. And I think they're really upholding the Italian styling, certainly in this bike. Anyway, I think it looks much like a little mini MV or Augusta styling type thing. I love the pipes and the trellis frame and the aggressive naked street fighter mini thing that's going on. Now, when you look at the bike, what's it like to ride? The seat is comfortable. You don't get pushed onto the tank, and it's wide enough to be able to sit on relatively easy if you're a bigger person. The mirrors are BMW style. They give good rear view images, and it's not one of the mirrors where I'm a bigger guy. You don't get half your shoulder. The headlight, to me, looks mean and angry, a little bit like a praying mantis type gadget. The gauges, digital, speed, analog revs, fuel gauge, time, trip, odometer, just the standard stuff you'd expect these days. When it came to riding the little Benelli, I couldn't help but compare it to an old 2017 Honda Grom that I had. Now, the Grom I had a 181 kit in it. It was modified, had Yoshimura pipe and such. But yeah. However, comparing the two bikes, the Benelli has a 5-speed, and the old Grom was a 4-speed. The new ones now have 5 speeds, which is a good thing. And I noticed when riding the Benelli, you could feel the torque at 7,000 RPM. And you ride there a lot. Benelli isn't really that far, I think, from what I remember, behind my 181cc Grom in power, and both having to keep the revs up. Maybe the little Grom 181 had more torque at higher end, but you would expect that from a significantly larger motor. If you keep it singing along in third, fourth, and fifth gears, it's an absolute hoot. And riding any motorcycle with 12-inch wheels initially feels a bit strange. The steering's quick and it's light, and it changes direction really quickly and makes you just wobble the bike all over the road. Look, it holds the line well, but it is easy, I found, to oversteer just that little bit because the wheel's turning quickly. You're oversteering it, and if you keep the revs up in the power band, look, you can hassle cars going up the hill. No problem at all. This little Benelli is the kind of bike that makes me smile. It's enjoyable and it's fun, and really that's what motorcycling is about. For most people, it would be a fun second bike, cheap and easy to store if you've got the room, and it's light to handle around. But it's not a serious bike in the sense that you can get lost in the serious bike world. I've been there. I don't want to go back there again. You see some of the huge ADV bikes, with serious attitude, and a rider with a serious attitude. And I found that over the years, at least for me, that a lot of the enjoyment of motorcycle can be lost in the pursuit of power and size and the weight that goes with all of that stuff. The little Benelli is a bike that's really enjoyable to ride, and in such a small package it's also very rewarding in the sense that you actually have to ride it through the gears. You've got to ride it up to the corner, you've got to get your right line, you've got to keep your power going so that you don't lose your momentum and you keep it in the power band. It takes a lot of concentration to be able to do that, and doing that is the enjoyment of getting these little things moving. There's a series of bends near us called Hawkesbury Road, and it's one of those bikes that as you're coming up there, you're twisting the throttle, keeping it pinned to the corner, then backing off and going back to the gears and choosing the right gear. And the skill is knowing when to change the gears and when to go up and down and when to get the most out of the little motor. And that's the reward in riding such a little bike like this. In conclusion, riding the little Benelli 135, I had to admire the heart of this machine. Now, the bike that I'm riding in this video had 11,500 kilometres on the clock. That's a lot of kilometres, but the motor was running sweetly, it produced power well, it made no weird noises. It performed beautifully for a bike with good kilometres on it. However, it's been looked after and serviced well, which I would say is very important for this bike, as it is with all other bikes. The motor in the 135 seems to be a whole lot bigger than the 135 designation would suggest. Maybe it's the TNT part that makes the difference. Thanks once again for watching the video. If you liked the video, maybe a thumbs up would be good, or maybe you'd like to even subscribe down the bottom. So until the next time, go well.